privileged to have Brian Swafford, a wrestling coach of quite a bit of accomplishment here at New London. I know Brian well. I used to coach football with him. You're not just a wrestling coach. As a matter of fact, you're kind of a Renaissance man. Can you? Well, I know that embarrasses you, but
well, I'll have to say right off that I do feel uncomfortable talking about myself. It's so much easier talking about everybody else and stuff. And I remember all those days, Shane, coaching alongside you, and it was just a tremendous fun. But yeah, I've been at New London for 36 years. And that ended last March. And so I'm trying to get used to a normal life with just a spackle of sports. I'm trying to get off omeprazole from my stomach. That happens over time when you get an upset stomach and stuff from all the coaching. Yeah, I've done a lot of different sports. Later on, I picked up junior high football. Maybe the next year, we picked up junior high wrestling and high school wrestling. So we were together. In some of those years, Mark and I were together doing junior high football and wrestling, and then high school wrestling. And then later on, my wife and I started having kids. I let go of the baseball for a while. As they were getting older, I jumped back into baseball with Mark, and we did baseball together for a while. I've done a lot of things here at New London, and New London has been a second home to me.
For those of you who don't know this, it's a Facebook thing that's being passed around for the local New London people. Brian was just featured as one of the stories in Win magazine, which is wrestling magazine. Win is a very prestigious wrestling magazine, but you didn't get in there because you didn't get the story written about you because of your wrestling coaching. It was about how many of your former pupils you have married as far as a pastor is concerned. What gives you more satisfaction, seeing the adult version of a student that you used to work with making that next step into a responsible adult life as a married person, or just seeing some kid that overcame obstacles to maybe upset some guy on the way to state or something? What gives you more charge?
I've spent the majority of my adult life working with young people and teenagers, and mostly guys. And because when I was a young guy, I needed some help, and I wanted to be that kind of guy and mentor, and somebody who could give young people some direction. And I wanted to be the first guy that those junior high guys got a chance to get to know as a coach. I wanted it to be a good experience for them, that they're going to like junior high. It's a stepping stone to high school. And I wanted it to be a fun experience. I wanted them to learn a lot. And it was a good chance for me to kind of see where they're at.
Well, let's put it this way. Have you seen a drop-off, not only as a coach, but from what your perspective as a coach, and now just observing the current team, are teams having trouble getting a lot of wrestlers to go out because they don't want to try it anymore? Or
all of us as coaches, I think in the last 20 years, we've seen a shift. Certainly technology plays a big role in all of life right now. We're seeing technology, whether it's social media or phones and things that you and I didn't have growing up, and so video games and all kinds of stuff that can get their attention and is a lot of fun. So we're vying for attention. But getting to know that and kind of getting to see where they're at, that probably helps me to approach them with a challenge that might be worth listening to me.
These kids who go off the mat after they've lost, they put so much into it, and they're like in a corner,
crushed. The emphasis on winning at all costs is, I feel, is a real detriment. Sometimes the things that would motivate me competing, it was a eye opener to realize that it wasn't a motivator for everybody. So I had to figure out what motivates this guy, and girls, man, that's a whole different world. That's a different discussion.
Well, we've had a whole broadcast devoted to whether or not female wrestling is on the same sort of trajectory as women's basketball, perhaps. Do you see wrestling for females like skyrocketing here in the next couple 10 years?
I can see it growing. I can see it growing. Just around this state, with the girls wrestling on many of the teams today, I think that it's going to be something that we're going to see a lot more of. I like seeing the girls competing against the girls. I didn't think I would like that, but I've gotten to where I really like it. And back in the 20 years ago, when kids were competing, and then the girls would be competing in the boys' sports, I really didn't really appreciate watching that. And whether it's the signs of the time and we're getting more used to it or whatever, but if you have an avenue for athletes, I think they'll come to it and they'll appreciate it and they'll have fun at it.
I ended up liking the women's sports more. You really got to see how the game should be played, because they couldn't just use raw athleticism to cover up mistakes. As a coach, do you see kind of an evolution of the females actually executing wrestling moves better than their male counterparts, because they just can't out-muscle some guy, or they just can't out-quick some? I don't know. Maybe I'm off base with that, but do you see that or not?
That's a good question. The comparison, there are some differences, I think, men and women competing in sports. I grew up in Minneapolis where girls basketball was king or queen, whatever you want to call it, and they were as high a quality basketball as there was around the entire state. What I saw, there's a difference in guys' approaches and girls. Girls, they're precise, and guys they'll power their way through stuff, and I'm seeing that in the girls wrestling. Man, there are some really, really good girl wrestlers today, and they're learning. Their learning curve is steep. They're really learning a lot right now, absorbing a lot, and so they're getting better faster. I enjoy watching anybody get good at, if they're practicing and working hard at stuff. I enjoy that as it's introduced in the college levels and things now. So there's more opportunities.
Well, we're going to switch gears just a bit. This has been very insightful, but if the WrestleCast is trying to carve its niche into the cyber world here, we're going to try to make this not purely wrestling. We're going to talk about some other things. So the first thing comes to your mind.
Oh, no.
Okay, here we go. Favorite movie of all time?
Night and Day.
Okay, you caught me with that one. I'm a movie
buff. Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz.
Okay, now the second thing that goes to my mind, why that one?
Well, I just explained myself. It makes my wife groan.
What's your favorite genre of movie?
I like action, followed by maybe romantic comedy.
If I were to give you $500, and however that $500 got spent, could be on a hotel room, could be whatever, what rock performer, singer would you want to see and where?
Oh boy, I'd like to see the Eagles. They're one of my all-time rock groups.
So is it fair to say Desperado is your favorite song ever?
I got a peaceful, easy feeling. How's that?
I'm late to the
Hotel California.
I'm late to the Eagles bandwagon, but if a top chef was to come into this room right now and take your order, what would you want?
I would want a cowboy ribeye steak with some mashed potatoes and some green beans and awesome dessert, some kind of cheesecake.
What are you going to be doing here? I know that you are trying your hand at some sports media with the Tiger Cast. What's your other parts of your schedule look like?
Doing for ministry and helping people. And I do have a little bit of free time. I can go to sport events that I want to. I tell all the kids once I coach them that we're friends for life. If they ever need me, I'm going to be right here. I'm just a call away. And I love it when they graduate and I get a chance to go to their graduation parties and stuff.
Okay, we have just concluded our interview with Brian Swafford, and then he throws this boomerang at me. It turns out that the article that I mentioned earlier about being in Win magazine has now been picked up. It's written by Angel Saunders, who wrote the Win article. It's now been picked up by People magazine on their webpage. So Brian is not just a local legend now, he's becoming a national legend. So we have him here at New London Schools for this radio broadcast. So thank you, Brian, again for coming in, and I hope this story gets some more legs on some other venues. Thank you.